On the 24th of June 2023, I left South Africa for a Namibië Outreach to the little town of Okakarara. The reason for the outreach was Reverend Gerson Kuvare, which is the Reverend for Otjiwarongo Dutch Reformed Church, phoned me and asked me to come and join an American outreach group and starting a agricultural project at a garden just outside Okakarara, based on the Foundations for Farming principle. I joined the Dutch Reformed Church of Namibia group, who normally goes on the Kahukuland outreach during the winter school period. We left in a Toyota Land Cruiser V8, which was very comfortable in front, but not so comfortable at the back. Unfortunately, I had to sit the whole route in the back, but we made it. We're grateful for that. I joined them until Otjiwarongo, where we split, where I left for Okakarara. And the mission was to start a garden project in Okakarara using Farming God's Way, or as we know it today, Foundations for Farming. Here, just outside Durbanville, we had a beautiful sunrise, clouds coming through the cold front clouds. This is on our way to Citrusdal, the mountains on Pikaneerskloof Pass. There in the distance is Citrusdal with quite extensive damage to the entrance road to the town. Here we are still 54 kilometers from Clanwilliam with the orange trees in the background. Here we stop at a farm stall to buy some oranges. Here the group is stretching some legs in buying the oranges. Here we can still see the floodwaters that created havoc in that area. This is still 10 kilometers to go to Clanwilliam. You will see that I've got all these information boards all the way up so that you can join me in the trip going up to Namibia. Here you can see office containers after the floods lying just below the dam wall of the Clanwilliam Dam. This is some more flooding. Here we stopped at Klaver to have a brunch. The brunch was had here at the one-stop Wimpy at Klaver. Beautiful landscape between Klaver and Vereinsdorp. Here we reach Van Vereinsdorp. And here, clearly signed, is the Karoo Highlands route that you turn off where you go to Van Vereinsdorp, Clanwilliam, and eventually Carnarvon in that area. This is the turnoff. This is also the route called the Cape Namibia route. 67 kilometers to Niveris. Here we see the Knasvlakte Nature Reserve with these beautiful buildings on the left-hand side of the road. This is also a community project. From here on, we will see beautiful rock formations on the side of the road. This is Namaqualand at its best. Eventually we arrived at Springbok. Here the team had to go and draw some cash, and this is a safe way of doing your banking, taking your Great Dane with you to the ATM. Here is also the beautiful area just before Fjoldsdrift. We had a smooth border crossing and we stayed over at the Gruner Hotel that evening. And here we had Springbok steak, which was delicious. This was our bed lamp in Gruner Hotel, and the Springbok horns being used as a lamp post. This is sunrise on our way to Keetmanshoop the following morning. Here we had 3 stop and goes, also a pit stop. As you can see, the B1 highway is being resurfaced, and that is why we had the stop goes. This is the area or road that's already been resurfaced. Beautiful. Here we entering the town of Marienthal. Here we stopped also for a quick lunch. This is the petrol station. Just a little story. One year we got to this entrance and we had a snake in the vehicle. And the vehicle stopped at that entrance and everybody just jumped out. And it was quite chaos and the petrol attendants had a good laugh. Here we're really nearing the town of Rehoboth. And eventually we arrived in Windhoek at the house of Reverend Erik van Zyl and his lovely wife Hester. Here the group is anxiously trying to link up with Wi-Fi so that they can send messages all over the world. This is also another beautiful sunset that evening. The following morning, the Kahukuland group is ready loading all their equipment and food. And this is the house of Reverend Erik. I took a quick walk around the Dutch Reformed Church Pioneers Park in Windhoek. Beautiful building. It's situated in Redekerstrasse. This is the northern side of the church. Now we're on the eastern side. Here we got parking for the elderly and the disabled. The church plaque mounted on this monolith. What is unique about this church, it's got a dual cross in front of the entrance of the church, which is quite beautiful. Here we arrived at Otjiwarongo. Split from the team. The Kahukuland team went northwest to Ochu and then on to Kahukuland. And I was to meet up with Reverend Gerson. Here Reverend Gerson arrived with a surprise. I was supposed to join him in his vehicle, but a lady by the name of Adele, she's a Herero teacher, she offered a vehicle for the next 10 days for me to use. It was quite extraordinary. The residence of Reverend Gerson, immediately behind Pathcare in Otjiwarongo. I had to fill up the vehicle with fuel. Later on, I added another 500 Namibian dollar So I spent about 1,700 Namibian dollars on fuel during this outreach. Here we are on our way to Okakarara, passing the Waterberg landscape area. This is on our way. That mountain range on the left, we would be climbing the following weekend. Beautiful road and typical Namibian layout of bush and shrubs. Here is the turn-off to Waterberg Plateau Park and also the Waterberg Resort. Another 31 kilometers still to Okakarara. Here we see some warthogs next to the side of the road, which were plenty. We arrived at the house and church here at Okakarara, and this used to be the mission house, and they are trying to purchase this house, but the money is not forthcoming. Unfortunately, there is extensive maintenance to be done on this house. This is the shelter that Reverend Gerson had built for outreach teams. Now, this concrete slab is meant to put up tents, and then the little hut at the back is for cooking and other services. The concrete slab is going to get a roof put over it. And what is remarkable, his brother visited him once, and he said to his brother he can't stay there for nothing. He has to make bricks. And they bought a mold in Otjiwarongo, and he started making bricks, and this is one of the results of that project. Here we started installing the family drip system, which was sponsored by Netafim. Netafim also sponsored 3 other drip systems that I've previously installed all over Namibia. Here is the team that helped me. You've got that white bucket, 20-liter bucket that provides the water or the irrigation to this drip system. On the right is 2 ladies from the American Outreach Group, and then we have Brandon and Klaus, who stays on the property, and then Friedrich, which is a neighboring farmer that was keen to come and see what we were doing. Here is the layout completed. It's an 8 by 12 meter area, and it is 8 lines of drippers that services this area, and they're 1 meter apart. This is after about 5 minutes. You fill the bucket with water, and once it's depleted, it's now enough irrigation for this area. Here you can also see the circles that's left after the drip irrigation has completed its job. Here you can see the circles that's left after irrigation. In the house, there is many challenges. Amongst other, this door handle is not operational. In fact, it's non-existent. And we had to use the mop to keep the door closed while you were having a shower or using the bathroom. This system is installed in the house, but there's no water coming out, neither cold water or hot water on this side of the bathroom. This is obviously a project for next year. Here we have the area where we did devotion at 9 o'clock every morning. Behind that curtain at the back, that is where Reverend Gerson stayed for the duration of the outreach. This area is also used as a church on Sundays, and it hosts about 40 people. Here, my friend Mondiro, he's an qualified electrician, but also jobless, like 95% of the people in Okakarara. They are jobless, and Mondiro joined the outreach team to do some handiwork and also be part of the outreach. Here we were trying to find the shut-off valve so that we can start working on the water system. The water system hasn't been cleaned for years, but eventually we found the valve. Going out to the project again, the municipal connection failed, and we had to scramble to get hold of fittings to fix this system. Unfortunately, the hardware store didn't have the correct fittings, but luckily the owner went to Otjiwarongo the next day and he was able to bring us the fittings. In the backyard there was quite a selection of birds, and my camera not being of the very best, this is the best picture I could make of this luri. Here's another project that is a building next door, which is also part of the garage. Here the water was just running freely onto the ground, and here we fixed it so that the water can run into the gully. Here the ladies are cooking supper on this braai facility with a gas cooker on top. I must say the food that was presented here was quite exquisite. Interesting phenomenon, this syringa tree growing in the middle of a camel thorn tree, right in the center of the branch. Here Mondiro disconnected the pipes. I must just mention that as a South African you're not allowed to work. I'm only there as a consultant, and he did all the work that was that came across our way. He is still trying to fix the cold water and join the pipes. As you can see, the fascias are also rotten. Here the cold water is eventually connected, but unfortunately there was still no water in the kitchen due to this closey valve that is blocked, and we did not have the equipment or tools to disassemble this unit, and this is also a project for next time we go up there, and hopefully we will then have water in the kitchen. In trying to get a decent shower, we manipulated this telephone shower handle and fixed it to the wall so that we can at least stand upright when we have a shower. But everything ice cold water. The best was to shower at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when day temperature was at its highest. Another project was this cold water tap was loose and there was no water coming out of it. We had to disassemble this valve and found that a little circlip has rusted and the valve wouldn't operate. So some electrical wire had to do the trick to get this valve operational again, and we tightened the complete tap so that it was workable and operational again. The church at one point felt to give a gentleman the opportunity to earn some money, and they got him to do the painting of the building. And as you can see from here, that the quality of paint is like non-existent. His preparation was definitely not of the very best. Eventually our fittings arrived for this cluster of valves, and we could complete the system here. All the fittings fitted. Here we started with mulching of the area, the drip area. And here the mulching is completed. Now the mulching is there so that the sun doesn't bake the microorganisms and the earthworms below the ground, and to create a cooler climate for the veggies to grow and give a bigger yield. Here we can see the germination of the first bean plant. This is a photograph that was sent to me recently, well after we left Namibia. A gentleman by the name of Chris van Rooyen presented these moringa trees to the project, and they planted them and they watered them, and yeah, it looks like they're taking, and it should be a good source of harvesting. This is the little house in which Brandon and Klaus lives, and the bricks originates also from Gerson's brother that manufactures those bricks on site. This is another project on the garden site. This is a toilet, wash basin, and shower, which is there for the people staying on the property, whether it's the outreach team or Brandon and Klaus. But this water trap was non-functional, and we fixed that so that it is operational again. On the Saturday evening, we heard a loud bang, and the local traffic cop with the official vehicle came, and he drove through this fence. Luckily, that big manhole stopped him, otherwise there could have been serious damage, and he was then pulled out by someone, and the vehicle was nowhere to be found the next day. Here you can see some more of the damage. He crossed this T-junction without stopping. A congregation member came on Monday and he fixed that fence. Here you can see the church bell. This is a piece of pipe that hangs from a piece of wire from the tree, and at the bottom there's a piece of metal that they bang onto the steel pipe. I was presented with this Bushman knobkerrie. This was a gentleman, a Bushman, that had to go to Gobabis, and he needed some money, and Reverend Gerson bought this off him and presented it to me, and it's quite cute. The Saturday we went to Warmwaterberg to do some mountain hiking. This is the reception at the resort. It's quite beautiful. Here the group is assembling and on our way to the hiking. In the parking area, or next to the parking area, is the swimming pool area. These are all bamboo trees. Yeah, the group is leaving for the mountain hiking. Beautiful paved path, which is also the roads that you can traverse in the area to do some game watching. At the back you can see this Waterberg mountain range, which we'll be ascending shortly. Here we got an anthill in front of Joy. The summit is 200 meters in height. Here we're on our way to the summit. In areas, the brush is quite thick. Here it becomes quite steep. Here the ladies wants a break. This is where the rock climbing starts. Halfway up the mountain, and we can already see the valley below. The group taking another break. We also counted 2 plaques of fallen gentlemen. These are tough trees. They must have found a couple of cracks to put their foundations down. At last, we reached the summit. Everybody taking a welcome break. The scenery is just astounding. Beautiful valley below. Yours truly also enjoying the break. Gerson still with his hoodie on in the cool climate on top of the mountain. What is remarkable, this gentleman is the reverend for Otjiwarongo Dutch Reformed Church, but he serves his people without salary. Remarkable how he serves the Lord's people. Taking a pose. Here are a couple of pictures of the group enjoying themselves on top of the mountain. Some mopani trees also growing on the top of the mountain. The group assembling for the group photo. We also encountered a hole in the wall, which is quite beautiful. And obviously, everybody wants to take a photograph. Even yours truly. Here you can see it's one rock lined on top of another rock. And this is Reverend Gerson. Beautiful scenery. He initiated the whole outreach, and his vision is astonishing. The way he thinks about planning and maintenance is also astounding, and that is the main reason that I joined him on his request, and hopefully I'll be joined by some more people next year. This is on the descending amongst the thick brush. Here you can see a Damara Duk Duk buck that's hiding in the bushes. This is the rock face. The lady on the left got a beautiful name. Her name is Namibia. That is heaven spelt backwards. This is the end of a notorious descent. Quite exhausting. Here we had a lunch break at the restaurant. We got permission to do our own braai. Everybody having a good rest. Quite a nice braai area out there. Here is the barbecue and some sausages being prepared for some hot dogs. Here the group is having a discussion and something to eat, some refreshments. This is a nice group photograph. Here you can see the bamboo that is in the parking area. Here we're heading back home. Later that evening it was sunset, and at 9:30 it started raining. Quite uncharacteristic of winter in Namibia. This is some more views from the clouds that evening. On Sunday morning we had our church service, and the net student Ralph did the service. He's a student from NETS in his second year, and Reverend Gerson decided that he would like to hear how Ralph's presentation would be of the scripture. Here is the congregation at the church service. The lady next to Reverend Gerson, that is her seat, and nobody dares to take that seat. She also has this horn-shaped hat on, which is quite indigenous to the Herero tribe. It was amazing to see the children congregating with the American Outreach group. You could see that these kids are dearly in need of some love and attention. The history of this church is, and as far as their leaders were concerned, they had Dominee Gawie van der Merwe. He was responsible for Herero in the west area. There was Dominee Johannes Swanevelder from 97 to 98. There was also Dominee Hector Uester. And then from 2019, Reverend Gerson Kuware took over, and he is responsible for Otjiwarongo, Okakarara, and Queen Sophia. Now, Queen Sophia is between Otavi and Ochu. So it's quite an extensive area. It's almost 90 kilometers to the north of Otjiwarongo, and then Okakarara is 101 kilometers to the southeast of Otjiwarongo. There you can see the kids congregating around the American Outreach group. This meeting with the children extended quite late into the afternoon. This is the bedroom where Reverend Gerson stayed. He presented his room to me, which I really appreciated. Obviously, every evening in Namibia, there's a campfire and people congregate around the campfire. This is where also Reverend Gerson's congregation also comes to meet him, and discuss all their problems with him. Here the ladies did some dancing while we were waiting for food to be ready. This was a beautiful barbecue after the long day at Warmwaterberg. I was also requested to do a second drip system, which I then started on the Monday. The family drip system that I installed is serviced by the 20-liter white bucket, but this other system is serviced by the green 1,000-liter tank at the back. Here we started with the layout. It was quite an issue to get the system going. Here we did roll out the pipes. The ends of the lines had to secured with bricks so that we could get a fairly straight line for each pipe. There's also a little nursery that they trying to get up and running, but with the barren soil, the plants are really struggling, and there's not much nutrition that or fertilizer that's been presented to these plants, and advice was also given on that regard. The maize that you can see on the pictures was underdeveloped. There's hardly any root system. This was a different field, but same result, very bad root system. This is the mountain range that we climbed the previous Saturday. Here we are on our way to Otjiwarongo to go and buy some fittings. We also visited Ochu at the little small holding of Chris and Jessie van Rooyen. There we met up with Chris on the left-hand side and Wilhelm Notnagel from Foundations for Farming. Chris just informed us that he lost 8 cattle due to a leopard that was creating havoc on the farm. Here Wilhelm was discussing Foundations for Farming, or as we used to call it, Farming God's Way. Here Sarine is giving her testimony to the American girls, and it was quite a testimony. Listening very attentively. The fittings we bought the previous day wasn't suitable for this project, so we had to adapt them. We had to take small strips of garden hose and fit it over the black tee that Leanna is holding here, and that was to accommodate the main line and to be joining the main line so that we could fit the dripper pipe onto the tees. We had a problem with the main line. As we started the system, there were quite a few leaks, and Leanna was helping me to hold the pipe so that we can try and close the leaks. Here the system is basically completed, and we were checking for water to be dripped at every dripper, checking that the water is running. And as you can see, this is the ladies inspecting. There you can see those little white tape around the pipe is where we tried to fix the leaks. Now, one could say, but that's not the appropriate way to fix them. But we have so little pressure that tape actually did the job. It's not a lasting solution, but for the time being, that's all we had. We were 101 kilometers away from the area where we could buy fittings, and this was the only quick solution. Here you can see this tank providing water to this irrigation system. The ladies dubbed the pipe the zebra snake, because the zebra snake, being indigenous to Namibia, it's a white and black snake, and it resembles something very similar. As you can see, the green tank is now the water supply for the second drip system. Beautiful sunset that evening. Last evening around the campfire, these ladies posed me a quite interesting question. Why did I marry my wife? And I told them I was looking for a mother for my children. That was the end of the outreach, and on our way back in Windhoek, Jan Brandt and his wife Tola present us with this 5-star meal. Two gentlemen that also joined the group. Heading home from Windhoek back to South Africa. There was quite an extensive cold front that hit South Africa, and we were following the cold front all the way down back into South Africa. This is turning into Noordoever, next to the Orange River. Here we had a quick break at the Engen Wimpy at Noordoever. This was our last stop in Namibia. Here we are on our way to crossing the Orange River back into South Africa. There is plenty to be told about this outreach, but we thank God for the time, the effort, and the people that made this possible, and we wish that the Okakarara community will be serviced, and that the government, Namibian government, will look after its people. There is plenty of need, and the church itself needs a lot of support, both financially, both emotionally, because it's quite an extensive task that lies ahead of them.